Sensitive viewers. Parental guidance is advised.
This is an SABC News presentation.
The ANC is going to the National Policy Conference in June 2017, at a time where the country's economy is at the knife edge. But infighting within the organization has become more prominent than the issues at hand.
It is in that spirit that I bid you goodbye.
The ability of the ANC to have lived 104 and 105 years is the ability to adapt to new conditions. And we do that always when we review the relevance of our policies.
While there are preparations for the policy conference, one cannot help ignore the fact that the ANC today is singing in different tunes than 100 years ago.
The SACP aligns itself fully with Comrade Kathy's call for Zuma to step down and for the principles.
The ANC ayijiki. uZuma uzoba umongameli we-ANC until ngo-2017 masifika e-conference.
Noma ngathi inja uZuma hleka wena ngoba ngiyona.
ANC conferences have been a guide of the possible direction the country could be taking. The policy conference in June 2017 is not different. There are predictions that this particular conference comes at a difficult time in the history of the ANC. Zizi Godwa, the spokesperson, agrees.
The ability of the ANC to have lived 104 and 105 years is the ability to adapt to new conditions. And we do that always when we review the relevance of our policies.
Lately, there have been incidents derailing the public attention away from the conference.
I would really love for them, appreciate for them to take all of the, bad reviews from people and try and improve on that and change on that.
With the discussions that keep on going and the undecisiveness, I don't think there'll be any change or any help for the communities.
The policies, they get spoken about, but nothing really trickles down to the masses. Nothing really comes to us. We don't really see a change on the ground. I think we need to start seeing more of the government doing something instead of actually just talking and having meetings.
South Africa's economy has been degraded to junk status by rating agencies. This comes after the president made a cabinet reshuffle and removed Pravin Gordhan as finance minister. This was perceived by rating agencies as inconsistent in policy implementation.
Joe Maswanganyi, Minister of Finance, Mr. Malusi Gigaba, Minister of Police.
This decision angered some of the ANC partner organizations in government, especially the SACP, the party in which Gordhan belongs.
The SACP aligns itself fully with Comrade Kathy's call for Zuma to step down and for the principles.
It could happen.
Prior to these incidents, some ANC veterans called a press conference in which they publicly voiced their concern about the division in the party, which will ultimately get harmful to the country.
We, the veterans and stalwarts, want to save our glorious movement.
Later on, we met up with Reverend Chikane, one of the veterans who helped organize the press conference.
When you realize the leadership of the governing party are going astray, and that will impact negatively on the people of South Africa, you have to take a stand.
But the organizers at the ANC headquarters, Luthuli House, are not discouraged. They are working hard as the date for the conference is set for the week of 29th June 2017. On the other side, Reverend Chikane is skeptical.
The policy conference can't save the organization because it's not policies that are the problem in the African National Congress, and we have made it very clear. The real problem is the behavior of those who are in leadership.
While celebrating the ANC's winning a by-election in Dumbe near Durban this year, Zuma made it clear that he is not going anywhere. At the same time, President Jacob Zuma pulled no punches for his critics within the movement, including the veterans.
Kukhona abanye abanembono yabo abazibiza ngamagama athile ngeke ngiwabize ngoba sengiwakhohliwe. Abekho instructions ke ANC noma ngabe ukuyiphi into eyenziwa ANC abekho. Namhlanje baqhuquzela imhlangano ngaphandle kwezakhiwo ze-ANC. Bathi bona babaluleke kakhulu ukudlula laba base-instruction. Kufuneka ukuthi ANC izwe ngabo. Indlela abayenza ngayo alikhomba uphawu ukuthi bayazi ngokuphelele i-ANC.
Anybody would make that type of statement a bit about Aniyazi ANC. I mean, how can you say that to Comrade Kathrada or say that to Mlangeni? I mean, it must be young people who actually don't know the history of the ANC themselves. Nobody can say those types of veterans don't know about the African. And they are the ones who build it up. They are the ones who made it what it is. And that's why they take the positions they are taking. Now, the issues about branches, I mean, it's irrelevant. The first questions were asked when we asked for a meeting was, in which branch do you belong, and this and the other. You can't ask Comrade Kathrada that type of question, or ask Comrade, I can quote any one of them. None of those. You can ask that type of question. I can answer the question, of course. They know I do belong to a branch. They know I'm a member in good standing. I deliberately made sure that I do that because I know when you take them up on the corrupt activities they are involved in, they will ask this technical question.
President Zuma did not even attend the memorial service of the late ANC stalwart Ahmed Kathrada, who wrote him a letter to resign, but he later alluded to the fact that people who write public letters being critical of their fellow comrades are not truthful to the commitment to the ANC.
Uyayibona leyo nto? Awukayitholi wena incwadi. Incwadi siya analyze le kude. Yakho le ncwadi. Hleka umfana kaShobadle Mulu. Wahleka umfana kaMgoqozi wenkomo egulayo. Uzavolo sengela abantwana izwe lifile kaZulu.
Experts agree that the recent drama displayed publicly by the leadership is taking away from the movement. The situation is even made worse by government losing court cases such as Nkandla.
Since 2009 and today, the ANC has dropped from 69 to 54%. Mainly because of this bad conduct, the scandals, the corruption, and the ineffectiveness of the ANC to demonstrate to society that they disapprove of impropriety.
ANC partner organizations in government say their patience has been eroded by the behavior of the president, and already cracks are beginning to show on the ground.
After a horrific accident, major questions were asked.
So step one, I asked myself, do I really want to die? And my answer to that was, I'm not sure. And then step two was, do I want my parents to bury me? And the answer to that was no.
Learning kept his brain in full action on how the brain works.
When I was in hospital, right, as I was saying, to catch up with my peers, I started to become obsessed with memory techniques and how the brain works and how we retain information.
Touching lives is his continuous mission.
I now work for a non-profit where we deal with access issues regarding kids with disabilities and persons with disability. We're busy working on beach access.
Being wheelchair-bound did not stop fun in his life.
I party in a wheelchair, I laugh in a wheelchair, I smile in a wheelchair.
For all your uplifting stories, catch Bupilong every Friday.
This is a COSATU rally, which was held on the 1st of May 2017, in which President Jacob Zuma was prevented from speaking by a faction of workers suspected to be COSATU. Members on the ground were almost reduced to punches, arguing about whether Jacob Zuma is supposed to speak or not. Ultimately, organizers decided to cancel.
There are no speeches that are going to be made today. We're going to hand over the memorandum and we close the event.
Some members argue that Zuma was invited by COSATU President Stumo Dlamini against their wishes because he would kneel and bow down for anything to impress Jacob Zuma. There are a lot of conflicting opinions about this in the streets.
Some part of me thinks he deserved it.
Why does he deserve it? Just
because he hasn't been doing the good things he's supposed to be doing for the country.
I think basically, okay, I wouldn't say we should blame it all onto the president. I think there's a lot of secrets going on in there. He's probably holding somebody's secret and somebody's holding his secret.
I mean, people kept saying that they did not want him to speak. They did not want him to address the masses. But still, they went ahead and talked, and he tried to talk to the people, at least. But nobody was having it. And I think it's about time that they realize now that people are really tired.
But COSATU does not agree that Dlamini's friendship with Zuma overshadows the relationship with the ANC.
The relationship with the president of COSATU and the president of the ANC is a personal relationship, it's not organizational. We have a relationship, organizational relationship with the African National Congress, not with individuals. Now, clearly there are policies of the African National Congress, there are policies of government that has not been implemented. you would understand that there are many policies that has been disrespected by political power.
Zizi Kodwa of the ANC sees this as a direct attack to his movement.
Whoever wants to destroy brand African National Congress, big as it is, the first entry point will be to destroy its president. So you may have differences what the president stands for or not, but the attack, sustained attack of the ANC president, the narrative is always to limit the standing of the African National Congress in the public eye.
But COSATU does not agree, and they say they are not even sorry about what happened.
No, ke a boeletsa rona ha rena ditlhong ka gore taba ya go bua go ya go goeletsa morena Jacob Zuma ga ya dirwa ke rona e dirilwe ke bona maloko a African National Congress ba nne ba le go rallying ya go Eastern ya go Bloemfontein ka gore ba dirile dikhipa tsa 100% hands off Jacob Zuma. Bothata ba badiri e nnile ona taba e gore batho ba batlile ka maikarabelo go ba ka maikemisetso a go tsa May Day ya rona. May Day ke letsatsi la badiri.
COSATU maintains that Zuma does not listen to any reason. This includes his response to the stalwarts who came to advise Luthuli House.
Those stalwarts are people who built the ANC, are people who knows the ANC better than some of us. So that response of the president, for me, it was irresponsible for making that such statement that the stalwart, then they don't know the ANC. He knows himself that they know the ANC better than him sometimes. Or they were in trenches with him. They understand the ANC.
Rise, COSATU, rise.
Lately, COSATU refused
COSATU
Jacob Zuma another opportunity to address their gathering. At the special COSATU Central Executive meeting, Zuma was replaced by his deputy, Cyril Ramaphosa, whom they already suggest as a replacement for him in government.
So uma sizohlangana nabantu bombimbi nabo sebejoina le chorus ikhona nabo sebememeza emphakathini nje ubani makaphuma ayisisizi lonto singumbimbi. So we can't elect a president of the ANC through a rally.
2 weeks ago, the ANC executive refused again to remove Zuma as president, despite the calls from their tripartite alliance friends. This could mean more damage to their relationship, but Zizi Kodwa is still optimistic.
Into zosiza ukuthi simane sikhuluma nje. Uma sicabanga ukuthi sizoshouta at one another using public platforms, it doesn't help the African National Congress, doesn't help the alliance. Into zosiza uma sicabanga ukuthi khona umbono esinawo about omunye wethu lapha kumbimbi, the best way is not to take a microphone and say ubani makahambe, the public eye again.
As leaders of workers, we can't keep quiet when the African National Congress or the President of the Republic of South Africa or the President of the ANC respond in public. Let me take an example. This issue about the President saying COSATU and the party must leave the ANC alone and focus on issues of workers. What does it mean to him as the President of the Republic of South Africa? What does it mean to the African National Congress? Do you recognize workers and the trade union movement or the Communist Party only during the election campaign? That's the message that he's sending to the workers.
COSATU and its alliance friends, the SACP, say Zuma is partially responsible for the loss the movement sustained in 3 major metros in 2016 local government elections.
They were razzled and dazzled by the EFF. The EFF leaders said all the right things. Nelson Mandela Bay Metro is that.
But Zuma sees it differently.
That's the DA's biggest strength.
ANC uphethe umasipala abaningi. Kodwa kukhona bathi uANC uhlulekile. Angazi ukuthi bakuthatha ukuthi bona babala ziphi balo ezihlukile kulezi zethu. Into engabe yashiya ukuthi kuma metro amathathu kulapho abasiphikisayo bedlule khona kancane sebehlangene bonke ngobuningi babo behlanganele ANC.
There was a massive wave of protest in the street, people calling for Zuma to step down. Some even believe that his administration is responsible for their misfortunes. But the president is having none of it. He says it is just a witch hunt against him. And he knows the real needs of the people of South Africa.
Ngathi inja uZuma ihleka wena ngoba ngiyona zazi kahle angihambi ngenyawo ezine anginamsila anginamlomo ocijile umuntu kusho kuloko kuwe uma ngithi abantu bakithi balambile ungitshela ukuthi wena kusho ukuthi ngisilima ngisilima singcono kwesikwazi ukubona amaqiniso.
Are you about that trending life? The looking good and all that slayage? Well, fear not, because Trends has all the fashion do's and don'ts for you to stay on point this upcoming season.
This film will be an immersive spectacle. You got Kong that's 100 feet tall.
It tells this incredible story of man versus nature.
The iconic stage production by Mbongeni Ngema is back with a bang.
Sarafina is a classic South African production.
I always choose to align myself with brands that I just love. Because when you love something, it doesn't become work.
Luxury is not built overnight, but it's an experience that comes with time.
Catch up with all the trends on Trends Saturdays at 12.
President Jacob Zuma enjoys a lot of support from structures as the ANC Youth League. This gathering was organized to counteract the call for his removal. And Minister of Water and Sanitation Nomvula Mokonyane was one of the keynote speakers.
uZuma uzoba umongameli we-ANC until ngo-2017 masifika e-conferencing. And understanding the transition between 2017 and 2019, uPresident uZuma uzoqhubeka umongameli size siyofika ku-2019. Amandla! Long live President Jacob Zuma!
While the cabinet reshuffle was blamed for the downgrading of South Africa to junk status, Nomvula Mokonyane made remarks that sent shockwaves in the middle of the bleeding economy.
When Zille told the world about colonialism, we never interfered. Save South Africa, any other person, even Nasemingwabeni, people never said a thing. Fagiani ingane ANC. Then people start talking about ukuthi cha irandi lizowa. Beli phansi aliwe sizolqosha.
I sometimes wonder whether it is incompetence or it is simply taking South Africans too much for granted. If you try and understand the explanations that are often given, I mean, a swimming pool becoming a fire pool, a resignation becoming a retrenchment, and then a pension fund, an early retirement. Are these explanations coming because the people who give us these explanations do not understand them? Or is it the fact that they are beginning to take South Africans for granted. So, and my fear is that once the goodwill of the people is lost, it will be very hard to regain it.
This statement fueled more anger within the tripartite alliance.
We condemn and we are very disappointed about the conduct of certain individual leaders of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. When workers are suffering on the ground, when workers are not able to buy bread, to put bread on the table, when the economy is so bad in South Africa, but you get a National Executive Committee of the ANC, a minister for that matter, saying when the rent has fallen, we'll go and pick it up. It's not for the first time that the rent falls off. It's an ill-disciplined statement. And the ANC never condemned that.
That statement was very unfortunate and regrettable. One of the things that we always try to advise the leadership of the ANC at all levels, whether Hulumeni or like me, Lotuli House, I'm not in government, is a public posture. When you speak about Maglalele, you may not know that so many people believe in the ANC, regardless of who speak. And they believe you. So with all the difficult situations we face about the rent, the currency, the perception from rating agencies, we're not focusing on main issues of growth and political stability. So it would be unfortunately
the competition to the union buildings is stiff. Opposition parties are ready to take over any time, unless there is effective policy application from the ruling party. But is South Africa ready for government without ANC one day?
All my life, I grew up knowing ANC has been ruling South Africa.
I think we should give some other parties opportunities, like maybe for 4 years, and see what's going to happen.
When people are angry, they are likely to even vote for the wrong person for the sake of punishing you. And that person may not deliver the results that you are looking for. In fact, that's how Germany ended up with Hitler, because they were unhappy. The world had treated them badly after the First World War, and Hitler came and said, I can solve this problem for you. And they voted for him. And then the consequences were dire.
You can't tell people about how bad apartheid is when they are seeing a lot of bad now. The more they see these kinds of things unfolding before their eyes, the less amenable will they be to the argument that apartheid is the bogeyman that we should be afraid of.
With a few days left before the conference, everyone is waiting in anticipation, with some predicting more divisions.
Brought to you by SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Are you about that trending life? The looking good and all that stage? Well, fear not, because Trends has all the fashion do's and don'ts for you to stay on point this upcoming season.
This film will be an immersive